We surprised by this?
Well, it wasn't working before.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody, and good evening. It is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, and it is time for our next installment of TED Trek Wednesdays here on Live Long and Podcast as we continue our mission to watch every original series episode of Star Trek, not in order. Tonight, we are discussing Season 1, Episode 10, or Episode 9, depending on what order you go by, Dagger of the Mind. And let's bring in all of our panel for this to talk about all this. I'm Dave Mader, if I haven't mentioned that already. Bringing in next my dad, Ted, who is the namesake of TED Trek Wednesdays. Dad, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm locked down still.
You're locked down still? Are you the dagger in your mind, maybe?
Dagger in my golf bag.
In your golf bag, yes.
Oh, they're opening.
They're opening?
We have
June 3rd.
Well, on that note, let's bring in next Jody Simpson with some news about the Ontario golf scene.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Is that
June 3rd?
June 3rd, we're okay.
I have an insider that's told me that.
Yeah,
Oh.
June 3rd, you can golf in Ontario in 2021.
There should be an announcement the end of this week or next week.
It's coming. All right, let's see if our last panelist is excited about that news. Adam Woodward. Adam, are you excited for golf?
Hey guys, I'm excited for anything that opens these days.
It's true. They opened a Taco Bell. We're like, yay!
Yeah, just getting upgraded from curbside pickup would be quite the perk here.
Yeah,
but
I just ordered 2 bike tubes for my bike, and I have to wait like 2 days to get them picked up.
Of course.
Like, come on.
Well, I ordered a new case for my new phone, and I ordered it yesterday morning at say 10 o'clock, and it was here this morning by 10 o'clock. I couldn't believe how fast it came.
Was that Amazon?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that has a little button on the back that can charge your phone to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sometimes you can get some ordering online is a whole different experience. But hey, we're not. Even though we're living in this pandemic, we're talking about all these COVID restrictions we're dealing with, but that's not the matter at hand. We're here to talk about Star Trek, the original series, Dagger of the Mind, an episode I have seen before, but it had been a while since I really absorbed it. So let's kind of go around and get some initial reactions to just get us started. Dad, Dagger of the Mind, is this one you know and one you love?
Don't remember it from that. I watched it before, but very rare. It's kind of an obscure episode, probably I would call it.
Obscure. Okay. All right. Interesting. Maybe
it's not like one that you see on TV all the time. You know, when they run the Star Trek stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go over to Adam next. Adam, were you feeling Dagger of the Mind? I would be amiss if I didn't bring up the fact that your potential family member Morgan Woodward,
was going to bring that up,
was good old Crazy Eyes in Dr. Van Gelder.
I went back to check if he was related, but unfortunately he's not. This episode was
the nose. The nose is similar.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that's a Woodward thing.
That's a Woodward trait, the nose.
Yeah, the nose.
You don't have the buggy eyes, though.
Okay, I did like the episode, but I mean, I have lots to say about this episode because it was some really odd parts to it, but I will wait to get into it.
Okay, wait, don't give it away if there got some juicy things. And Jody, how are you feeling coming into this podcast and about this episode?
So, I think I picked this episode, and I remember the name of it, and then when I started watching it, I didn't remember it until the guy popped out of the box, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's this one. So I've seen this many times. I've seen this episode many times. So I guess Ted and I don't watch it on the same channel, but I think it's just random. It just depends on when you hit it with syndication, right?
Yeah.
What's been the interesting thing about this podcast and going through and watching all these episodes with this group is that, some of us know these episodes, some of us know some of these other episodes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right. And so even if you're fans of the original series, the 79 original episodes, the ones you personally identify with, it's all over the place.
Well, it's just like Next Gen, right? Like every so often I'll see a Next Gen episode and I'll be like, I don't remember all of this. Okay, that's interesting.
But Next Gen has 100 more episodes.
Yeah, well, even then though, still like there's episodes where you kind of remember a little tiny
on Monday afternoons. On Monday afternoons on Sci-Fi Network, they show Star Trek from about 3 o'clock on all night till 2 in the morning. And it's just random episodes, but it's better than Netflix because you get all the what's it called, Jody? The high tech ones.
You get the remasters.
It fills my whole screen, my whole 66-inch screen or whatever it is. It fills it right to the edge, whereas the Netflix ones don't. So
you're stretching it. You're saying?
Oh, they stretch them. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, you just never know what you're going to get on if you watch it that way.
True.
Random.
Yeah. Let's get into the plot of this episode. Just talk about all these things and just even the whole premise, because I'm curious to hear, especially Adam's thoughts on this. But the premise is the Enterprise is doing a routine cargo drop at the Tantalus Penal Colony on Tantalus 5. So we see them beaming down some cylinders and other things. There's a Lieutenant Berkeley here. He's not so good at his job, and the captain wants to make sure he knows it.
That whole scene is just awkward. It's like Kirk just literally comes in and he's like, "So, jackass, you don't know what you're doing." Obviously I do because I'm the captain and I know how to work a transporter. It's just an obnoxious scene that didn't need to be in there. And actually, when we get into fun facts, we'll explain why that guy's even there, because he's not actually supposed to be there. So
yeah, he goes, I can't beam anything down. He's like, we're trying to beam things down to a penal colony, right? And they have a screen. And he's like, oh, right. And then he calls down to the planet and they can lift up the security thing. And he throws so much shade here at Lieutenant Berkeley in this scene.
And then as he's leaving, he does it again, which is even worse. Yeah.
But of course, Kirk has to be right.
Yes,
at the end of it,
of course, yes.
Because Kirk says, okay, he's like, are you going to read up on your manuals about how to beam down stuff to a penal colony? He's like, oh yeah, right away. He's like, not right away. How about you can take care of this box here, and then you can go read your manuals.
The funny thing I felt about that, the whole scene was weird, and you're right about that conversation. But even when they're loading the transporter pad, like the guy's wrapping his arm around this big canister, lugging it up the stairs, putting it on the pad. And I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. Like, can't you just
can't you just beam it from where it is?
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe.
But to be fair, in Next Gen, they still had transporter pads in the cargo bays.
Yeah, but exactly. All right, fair enough. But the point is, it just seemed awkward to me. The whole scene.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems a bit manual, but just even
anti-grav devices, they could have lifted the thing a little easier with them.
The thing that bothers me about this entire scene is when they receive back the case of files, which turns out to obviously be the Doctor. That case of files. We're always under the impression, which obviously back then, I guess we weren't, but they know what's in the matter stream when they beam it back up. So they would know that there was somebody in there.
Right. It was supposed to be.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
If it's coming from a penal colony, you might want to check it.
Yeah, that's kind of my whole gag here is that wouldn't you want to open it and just double check? Like there could be something in there like contraband or something.
But it said do not open on it, didn't it?
It did say do not open. So clearly, the transporter chief clearly followed that procedure correctly.
But that's a big box again. They got to move that down and then out the hallway and wherever it goes.
Not only that, but the box is bigger than the pad itself. So it's like everything else is like super like it all fits on the pads. But yet that box, when it came back up, obviously because it has to hold a person in it, is huge.
Jody, I thought, okay, at least I understand they're putting the tubes of drugs on the pads and it fits on that circle.
Yeah.
But then this giant thing shows up and it's overlapping everything.
Oh, it's like way over it. Yeah, it's like the size of like 3 of the pads, like width-wise. Yeah. So
does it have to be only in the circle? Or
what's that, Ted?
Does it have to be? Is that just a guide?
Clearly now.
It's just a guide. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it must be just a guide. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to be there.
I think if you're a person, you want to be in the.
Yeah, I guess maybe the biological needs to be, in there as best as possible. Maybe that's like
if you
the
had
focus area. Yeah.
you would go outside of that, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
but here we see good old Crazy Eyes, Dr. Van Gelder. He's actually inside the box, and he has that slow sneak up on the crewman. He's not Lieutenant Berkeley. He's.
I have to ask you guys.
He's going to get his manual.
I have to ask you guys. Do you think somebody could overact more than Kirk? Because this guy did.
Morgan Woodward.
Morgan Woodward definitely outacted Shatner in this episode for sure.
Also, once they announce that he's like missing on the ship, they go, "Please look for this guy." They say he's in his early 40s. In what universe is this guy in his?
Can you put him up again?
Yeah. Where is he?
I don't want to see early 40s.
Does this guy look like he's in his early 40s?
If he lives in California and sunbathes constantly, maybe.
What the only thing I would say to that is back in the 60s, people tended to look older than they were. Like my father, when I remember, he seemed like he was in his 60s or 70s, and he was only 45, 50. So it was a different era, and everybody looked a lot older than they really were.
They were. Is that because of smoking was so? Yeah.
Smoking, drinking, and just in general, no one used hair dye. Nobody used their hair at all. And people tended not to do a whole lot of exercise, so they just sit around and watch TV and smoke.
The interesting thing here, though, is that the actor who portrays him actually was around 40 at the time when he did this thing. So that's interesting as well, I think.
Okay, and I'm 38, and so this guy was only a couple years older than me at the time. Like,
you're aging better than him, Dave.
Okay.
Yes,
for sure. Better.
Yeah.
I don't know if you purposely put that in there to give yourself a little pat on the back.
Just to make myself feel better, really. Like,
but yes, you definitely look better.
Yeah.
You can get the vaccine now, though. That's fine.
I can get the vaccine.
No, he can't.
Yeah.
He can.
Okay.
You can.
And so the whole thing. Okay, so the whole reason they're at or I guess they're at Tantalus to do something more routine. But then in the Act 1, once we come back from the credits and everything, it's McCoy and Kirk on the bridge talking about who's Dr. Adams. What are his theories? What is his he revolutionized the penal colony system, made them less prison-like and made them more like rehabilitation resorts, I think is what they say.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Right. This is now, I think...
Did anybody ever check on the people that he was churning out? They're all walking around like zombies.
Well, yeah,
when they show you later, especially that lady. Can't remember.
They're
her
all
name.
like zombies. The whole colony was zombies. I'd see one normal person.
Yeah.
Her name was like Penthe or something.
If you had a whole colony a penal colony of people who all had lobotomies,
what year was this, Dave?
Too much.
66.
Right. Yeah. So when you look at what was going on, I recently
brainwashing, Cold War. Yeah.
No. Not only that, though. I recently watched a show on. I don't remember the guy's name. The doctor who performed lobotomies. Like he performed 2,500 of them in the 60s.
Like back in like the 30s and stuff.
No. Up until 67, and that's why I asked, because I think this is relevant. The guy performed like 2,500 lobotomies up until 1967. That was the date, and I think there's a parallel here, and I think they're trying to say something like, let's end these damn lobotomies, because you put people, you end their you take away their spark, you take away their soul, you take away their passion, right? And that was definitely what was going on in that penal colony.
It was just done electronically.
Yeah, this was
current events and social uprising. Yeah.
Well, about mental health too, and the different techniques, and like there's obviously a long history in the United States, even of just on psychiatry and different techniques.
Yeah, but there had to be a reason they were winding down at that period, and I'm just wondering if Star Trek weighed in on this and got their opinion, and
Yeah, but I'm curious, but maybe that might come up in the fun facts. I also think it was kind of like also speaking about just punitive prisons and things like that, and the idea, like, if you commit a crime, do you go to prison or do you go to get like better or whatever.
Yeah, but
right?
there's also the point too. That's very true. But and how though, early lobotomies or electroshock were also treated as the cure. And and if you remember Kirk when he's talking about Dr. Adams, is that right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about Dr. Adams as being the savior, and he's done such great work. And have you been to a penal colony? It's like a resort now. But when you have a bunch of people walking around with no passion and no end, like that woman who was the therapist was just
she was like dead-eyed and soulless. Yeah.
But it wasn't just her.
Around.
Oh, you mean Crazy Eyes? Well, she's a different kind of. She was kind of like
that one.
cross-eyed. Like look at her eyes. One's going one way, one's going the other way. It's not right.
Yeah. But there was nothing there. Like,
that might not have had anything to do with what was going on in the penal colony. That might just be the actress.
That might be.
Dave, well, the doctor, or the head guy. Is that a doctor?
Dr. Adams?
Yeah. Is that the same actor that played Hamilton Berger and Perry Mason?
I can look it up. One sec.
It's very possible. Because I looked up his career. He had quite a lot of stuff in it.
Dr. Tristan Adams. He was played by James Gregory. What's he known for? James Gregory, known for The Manchurian Candidate, Beneath the Planet, Barney Miller.
Barney Miller. That's
Murder
probably where I would have known him from.
Not Perry Mason?
I don't see any record of him being on Perry Mason.
Okay.
Out of everybody that's on this episode, the psychiatrist from the Enterprise, the girl that was in blue the whole time with a really, really short skirt, she has like a massive history in TV, like massive. She's been on like every show imaginable.
Are you talking about Dr. Helen Noel?
Yes, I can't remember her real name, but
who's the actress?
She was on like everything. She was in like Outer Limits. She was in like pretty much anything you could think of.
Marianna Hill. She's still alive. She's 79 years old now.
Good for her.
Yes. She has been on a number of things, including like High Plains Drifter, The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, she played one of the Corleones. Corleones, yeah.
She was in an Outer Limits episode in 1964.
Wait, was she Michael's wife in Sicily?
Deanna. I think she was Deanna Corleone or whatever.
Oh, no.
Deanna Corleone? Who's Deanna Corleone?
She was she was like a wife of somebody. I'm almost positive.
I think she was Michael's wife. Hold on.
Oh, it's Fredo's wife. Fredo's wife.
Fredo's wife. Yes. I think you're right. Yeah.
Remember the one who keeps getting drunk at the party?
She's blonde in that one. Okay, yes, you're right. Yeah,
right.
Like she was in everything. Like I looked up her bio quickly, and I'm like, holy shit, she's been in a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, I liked her a lot in this episode, but just in terms of this, I just want to get through the premise here. So this idea, I guess the idea of like
that's Dave's way of saying we're getting too sidetracked.
We're getting a little sidetracked. Just this idea of like, okay, Dr. Adams was he changed Federation society basically. He changed the way they thought about prisons and
penal society, I guess.
Penal society, at least. I also think about like Tom Paris. Remember in the very first episode of Star Trek Voyager, he's living in a penal colony akin to this because he's in jail for helping the Maquis briefly before he got caught. So this does seem to be like the way the society continued to be. We also see here that these guys like Dr. what's his name? Dr. Adams. He's wearing like that dove with like the sun symbol, which is the same one that the scientist was wearing in that other one we watched, which was the one with Garth of Izar. If we remember that. Remember Garth of Izar?
No, but I've watched a lot of Star Trek.
Remember, it was in season 3. It was the other mental asylum.
Yeah, okay.
The
other mental place. That was like they tortured you there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was more for like the criminally insane. That was like the that was like the worst of the worst.
That was like the supervillains. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like that was like the Arkham Asylum, if you will, of that universe. Anyway, so that's so they're speaking about Dr. Adams is like he's revered, he's well respected. Meanwhile, what's his name? Van Gelder. He's running around. They're trying to catch him. He comes up to the bridge after he's taken out another security guard and taken his phaser. And he says, "You got to get me away from here." And Kirk's like, "No promises. No promises." And with and Spock and Kirk double team him and take him out and neck pinch him and take him below.
So why is there never security on the goddamn Enterprise? Why do people just randomly walk around and they can get to the bridge and stuff like that? Like, do you know how hard it is to get to the bridge on, like, let's say a submarine? Do you know how hard that is?
Well, what's even more interesting, too, is that he gets to the bridge and there's already a security guard there. His job is to guard and make sure the intruder doesn't storm the bridge. But that's exactly what he does. Because
he literally walks right in.
The security guard is not even looking at the turbo lift. He's looking away from the turbo lift.
He's looking at the view screen. Like, what are you doing?
We got a problem here. Lieutenant Berkeley down in the transporter room. This guy.
And this is a problem that happens in all Star Trek series.
Yeah, but he's also taking out security along the way. He gets a phaser.
That's true. Yeah.
Van Gelder took out 3 people, like didn't kill them, but he rendered them.
But if that's already happened, why is this guy not staring at the goddamn turbo lift? That's the place that people come in.
It's the only way in.
Exactly.
It's the only way in. Yeah.
And the turbo lift doesn't have some sort of technology that doesn't allow you to just access it. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's
I don't
just
know.
Like,
anyway,
yeah, but
that's something that happens in every series.
It was even worse that they show us the security guard shows up. We see he's there, and then he's completely useless. Actually, he's because did Van Gelder already have the phaser? I can't remember, but it's
I think
anyway. So they take him out, but so then they start taking him back. They're like, okay, let's take him back there and figure this out. But then they kind of start figuring out who he is. That he's not actually supposed to be in. He's not supposed to be like admitted as like a prisoner there. He's actually
Spock figured it out.
Well, he was literally somebody that was working there essentially, and was doing some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, that he's because he was demanding asylum, that he was trying to get away. And that he's not. And then Dr. Adams saying, Dr. Adams, quite the effective liar, because we don't even see Dr. Adams until like halfway through this episode, right?
Yeah, he's very congenial on the phone. Yeah, like, and he almost anticipates Captain Kirk's comments, right? Like, he's going, oh yes, he's not really a patient. He's actually works here. Like he knew that Kirk was calling him about that when we got to that point.
Yeah, he's anticipating what we can kind of put together by the end of this, or even halfway through this, is that like Adams is being very calculating. He's being very smooth in how he's giving these answers. Dad, we got a comment here. It just wants you to know that Captain Picard is the best.
Santino 78. I agree.
He's up.
My favorite captain.
I think he probably was ranked second or third, but not first.
See, I look at Kirk as being third for me.
I know, but you're new generations.
Oh, I see.
Right. But but Kirk wasn't even going to investigate this. It was McCoy forced his hand. McCoy's like, I'm not sure about this, and if I have any reasonable doubt, it's going in my log, and if it goes in my log, you have to respond to it in your log. Yeah. That kind of thing doesn't come up too often.
No.
It was kind of neat, though. I thought it was interesting dialogue.
Well, it forced his hand, but before you even got to that, did you notice there's a lot of like I guess this is episode 10?
9 or 10. Yeah.
This is the one right after Miri.
Right. Yes. Yes. I left Miri in my office. I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez.
I think it was 9 because Miri went 10.
Anyway,
Oh, Adam.
You lost me. But Kirk, they did like all kinds of like lighting shots on him, man. There was like, it was a weirdly shot episode to me.
Very much so, yes. Yeah.
The lighting was very season 1. It reminded me a lot of Balance of Terror, actually, which would have been episode 8, which not too far from this.
Two episodes before this.
Up to be like this really good looking guy, and definitely the leader, and I just felt that it was like after watching season 3 last week, it's a very different setup and shots of the captain and how they present him. And there's a lot more time wasted on just shots, like with no dialogue.
Yeah, there is a lot of like ambient shots in this one. Yeah.
Yeah, the lighting is very much like makes you look at his eyes. It's like focus. It kind of creates like this shadow.
Yeah, it's almost like they bar the eyes in, so you
Yeah.
can kind of see the intensity of the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting though.
Yeah, I actually like this lighting quite a bit that they were doing here, more so than some of the later seasons even.
Season 3's lighting is terrible.
But this whole so Kirk's like, fine, I'll go do the investigation, and McCoy, sign somebody from your staff with psychiatric experience.
This is when it gets interesting.
Yeah,
this is when it gets stupid.
McCoy has psychiatric experience. Like he could have gone.
Yeah,
on this
like
mission.
why wouldn't McCoy go?
No, they had to bring this in.
Yeah, they have to send a woman with the shortest skirt on the crew to a psychiatric facility
with degenerates and whatnot. Yeah, like this is just the stupidest premise ever.
And here's another thing about this: they met at the Christmas party. This is the only time in Star Trek I've ever heard them talk about Christmas.
It is
one of the only times I was. Yeah,
one of the only times they talk about Catholicism, Christianity, anything like that.
And,
like a Christmas party on a starship? Like, wow.
Not only that, but her last name is Noelle.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's also Noelle. Yeah. And more specifically, he met her at the science lab Christmas party. So the different departments have their own Christmas parties.
So Kirk is a busy man. He's going from party to party.
Well, he's the captain of the ship. You would expect him to show up
at all the different parties. Now, how many parties did Jean-Luc Picard pick up women?
None.
There's a Captain Picard day. All right.
For the children.
It's for the children, but it's a day. It's not just a party. It's a whole day.
Yeah, but he didn't like that, Jody.
Okay, yes. In comparison, Dad, Captain Picard tried to date one of his officers in one episode. It didn't go well because he knew he might have to order her to a death, and he broke it off ultimately. Versus Kirk,
to me, that seems like a great way to get out of a marriage.
Yeah, versus Kirk, who basically had a romance with almost any female officer he could.
Any female.
No, but Dave never seemed so pissed off about this. Like he was like, "You're sending her? Like I don't want to."
Like out of everybody on the ship, we're sending her.
Yeah, because he says to Spock, "You better tell McCoy that she's the best assistant ever."
She better be the
best assistant.
Why is Kirk so uncomfortable when he sees her?
Something happened at that party. Like that's the whole thing. I mean, I think that
he's got dick pics. It's that simple.
Kirk banged her. He banged her at that party.
Yeah, dick pics for sure.
And he feels weird about it.
He doesn't want the rest of the crew to know how small he is. I think that's really what it is.
It's all about his reputation.
It's all about reputation.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody thinks he's packing.
Yeah, and she's very like playful with him at first. I'd say she's like, ha, 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 "I'm here. What are you gonna do about it?"
Yeah, she's like kind of almost egging him on, right?
But there's only 400 people on the whole ship. Like you're gonna run into them at some point. Like,
not only that, you have somebody who is literally almost your best friend, really, in McCoy. And wouldn't he be perfect to give you a complete, unbiased response to this? Like. Whereas she could be like just telling him what he wants to hear, so he can
I think McCoy had to stay because of the sickness of this other guy.
Van Gelder.
Yeah, so
Mr. Van Gelder. Yeah,
McCoy back for Van Gelder. So
makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So once they get down, so her and Kirk go down to the planet. And they start looking into things. Well, first they go into this turbolift, and then it starts going down like super fast. I guess to create maybe a little bit of a jump scare or something.
Yeah, I didn't really get that whole point of that scene.
Well, it's a prison and it's buried beneath the rocks, so no one can escape. I take it that's probably why.
Oh, kind of like that thing in Undiscovered Country where it was like a mine.
Yeah, here we see in terms of what you see from the surface, it's very, very minimal. This is from the remastered version, right? And then I guess you go down into the cavernous thing because
the sub basements. Yeah.
To escape from that must be pretty tricky.
Right. I would imagine. And their force fields pretty powerful too. Like the transporters had no strength against it. But anyway, they get down on the planet, Dr. Noelle and Kirk, and they have a toast at first because Dr. Adams like, let's drink. Let's have some wine or whatever it is they're having. None for cross-eyed Lethy. She's not invited to have.
No.
And that was the only episode I remember Kirk not getting like, ooh, another woman to look at, but he didn't seem that interested in her.
Well,
No,
it's because of the eyes.
It's the eyes. I'm like, I go for ladies. Both their eyes look the same direction at the same time.
And we don't want to offend anybody who may have that condition in real life.
Of course.
So we're only making fun of the character, not of the person.
Yes.
I think we also forgot what was going on with the Dr. Van, whatever his name is, on the ship at this point.
Van Gelder.
Yeah.
Well, he's throwing down what they think is the conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so he starts showing him around, and we not too long into it, we get to the neural neutralizer room. And these are some pants that they get to wear in this penal colony.
Those are amazing. Those are, I would wear those. I would wear those for sure.
Yeah. So at first it seems pretty harmless. We see this guy and it's on low intensity, so he's not doing or saying much. And he's like, well, we were going to get rid of this machine, but this is actually what happened to Van Gelder. He went in this machine to do a test and he fried his brain. And that's why he's so violent and erratic. It was kind of an accident in a way.
I have a funny feeling that they put Van Gelder in there.
Actually, the comment that we just got, Dave, I don't know if you've read it already, from Santiago. I don't know if it'll fit. Yeah, the captain thinks that Picard is, old and senile, and yeah, there is some resemblance to this episode. So maybe that's where they got it from.
Says Janeway is second, so he's indicating Janeway's his second favorite captain. Then we got Kirk, then Cisco, and then Jody gets an honorable mention as captain in the episode where Picard was old and senile. But he wasn't a captain.
No, he wasn't a captain.
We're only talking about the first 2 or 3 seasons, though. So none of this exists past that first 3 seasons. So we don't recognize any of this.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. We're still in 1966.
No, I think he's trying to pull the comparison to episodes of shows that came after this and how they were influenced by the original series.
What's the next season after this? What's the Next Generation?
Next Gen would be the next series. Yeah.
Okay, then you can compare Picard to this, but you can't do it until.
But it was 20 years later.
Oh, way later. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I think he's just making the comparison of when Picard was old and senile to this episode.
Yeah, but Jody was a captain in the Voyager episode, in that alternate future where Chakotay and Harry Kim went rogue.
Well,
Voyager is terrible. Let's not talk about it.
Pike was a captain too, Dave.
Christopher Pike. There's Captain Burnham now.
And a lot of captains. Oh, fuck Burnham. Anyway.
Anyway, so the whole neutralizer room, and he's like, we're getting rid of it anyway.
There's a neutralizer room. Come on, guys.
Yeah, wait though. So Kirk's ready. His assistant Noelle, like, she's very contradictory. You should take advice from me. Like, he's the captain. Stop arguing.
Yeah,
but she's a specialist on this mission. She literally should be listened to.
But their pre-existing relationship, it's making the whole. She's being more unprofessional than him, actually.
Yes, you're right, and I felt that was that whole scene, that first 5 or 10 minutes on the planet was awkward.
But that's season 1. Let's make every woman look bad in the series.
No.
Nothing new.
It wasn't that, Jody. I felt that. Sometimes I find that it was like that episode when they're on the planet and the big beasts, or whatever we call them. I can't remember the name of it. Those guys that were throwing the spears.
Back in the
Galileo 7.
Yeah, Galileo 7. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So they're very contradictory towards Spock in that episode. And yes, she's a doctor. Yes, she's a specialist, but she didn't. Yeah, maybe it was a writing at the time, but it wasn't very professional to me. I agree.
I think there was obviously something between the two of them that caused that issue to begin with, right?
But he set her in her place pretty good with when you're the captain, you make the decisions or something like that.
Yeah, something like when you're the captain, you get to decide whether you're going to listen or not, or something like that.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah, very cocky, but
Full rank up.
true to the point. Yeah.
So while this tour and this investigation is taking place on the planet, Spock and McCoy are dealing with Van Gelder up in sick bay, and eventually this mind meld happens because they can't quite get the information out of Van Gelder, as we finding out that that this information has been blocked from his mind, or he'll be in pain if he tries to like remember what's happened to him. So and this might be the first mind meld, I think.
It is, but that'll come up in fun facts.
Yeah, because McCoy has to there's this whole kind of sequence before where McCoy has to kind of talk Spock into doing it. He's like, one, it's a private thing, it's a Vulcan thing, we don't do this with others. But McCoy, in very traditional McCoy mode, is like, Kirk is in trouble. Maybe are you gonna take that chance? Do the mind meld and screw off.
Yeah, well, that's typical McCoy, right?
Yeah, they were all very.
He wants the end process. It doesn't matter how he gets there.
Yeah. He's like, if there's even a smallest chance that Kirk's in trouble, we have to do whatever we have to help him out here. So I thought that the mind meld scene was actually really good. I thought that both actors sold it really well.
I honestly think this is one of the best acted episodes of Star Trek, personally, like all around. Like with the exception of maybe the girl, she was a little off, but.
No, I don't think so. I think she was pretty good.
But I think everybody was solid. Like Kirk was definitely solid. And I think the crazy guy,
Van Gelder,
like he's phenomenal. Like he does a great job of selling it, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, no, I thought he was like when I first saw his photo coming into the night, I'm like, whoa. And then, but his performance is more nuanced. I wish we kind of got like an ending with him when he was like better, but. We don't.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so while from this mind meld, we get this whole exposition that that the doctor is very bad on the planet, Dr. Adams. That this is all bad. We kind of knew that from seeing quickly in the neuralizer room and all that kind of thing. When they left, that there was maybe Adams and his people are not so good. And so
I think this episode might have inspired the movie Total Recall as well, because that neuralizer room and Total Recall kind of have a lot of the same atmosphere going on.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah,
maybe
that's the first thing I thought anyway.
And the chair even looked like an early chair of that. Yeah, I just watched
the chair was reused from something else.
So,
hopefully you didn't watch the remake. The remake's terrible.
No, I watched the original.
Okay.
But Kirk he doesn't have a good feeling about this. And so he goes to see Dr. Helen Noel, and in her quarters at night, he's like, Captain, why are you here? You could have come
till morning.
This couldn't wait till morning. I was like, I'm not too sure about this Dr. Adams and his neuralizer.
But you know what, though? He kept that meeting very professional. It was all business. You know,
he wasn't there to see her.
I was waiting for him to say, I come at night. Or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's continuing. She's not taking this very seriously yet. She's not suspicious at any means. So she's this trip for her is just like let's give the gears to Jim Kirk a little bit, right?
Yeah, she clearly has some sort of ongoing issue with him.
Yeah, but he's like, "Hey, I need your help. Come with me to the room." And she pulls it together, and they go, and he's like, "Okay, let's test out this machine. I'll sit in it." And they go for this minimal intensity, and he's like, "Well, just suggest something." She's like, "You're hungry," and then he's like, "Hey, let's go raid a kitchen somewhere." She's like, "No, that was me. I did that."
Am I the only one that sees a complete lack of like intelligence in this idea? Like, let's sit in this chair that fucks with people's brains, and let's try it out on the captain of the fucking ship. This makes perfect sense.
This is his investigation.
Could you find an ensign or something for this? Like, isn't there a red shirt around that you could have gave this a try on?
They didn't bring one.
Maybe the guy that was supposed to be watching the bridge. Maybe maybe that should be his punishment. They try it out on him.
Yeah, they were told not to bring too many people because you don't
yes. Yeah, I just think it's kind of silly, but anyway.
But then he's like, you know what? Screw all these like basic suggestions, like making me hungry. Do something unexpected. She's like, okay. And so in this next one, she's like, remember when we met at the Christmas party? Well, what if it went differently? And we went back and had a romp in your quarters, and then I said, no, will you love me forever? And he's like, let me sleep on it, baby, baby, let me sleep on it.
That was a great reaction, Dave. I just want you to know that.
Right? She's like, I wouldn't want you to lie to me. I wouldn't want you to promise it to me if you don't mean it. Anyway,
so it with such intensity.
So
I love it.
This didn't happen. This is not what happened when they.
That's
met.
not what happened. Yes, you don't know what happened. What?
What? Like, yeah, I'm even more curious as to what actually did happen now.
Yeah, because there's something very awkward that happened. Clearly,
she's pissed off at him about something, but we don't really know what it is.
I think they had sex, and she's pissed off because he ran away and said, "I'm just the captain, and you're just a one-nighter for me."
Yeah, exactly.
You're a 3-hour for me, baby.
You're a lower decker. I probably won't run into you again. Who cares?
Exactly.
You stay on the bottom decks, lady.
Even though she's a doctor and probably working in the anyway. But.
Well, you would think he would have seen her in the medical area.
Exactly. There's definitely something that happened at that Christmas party when he had too much to drink. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Too much Romulan ale.
Too much Romulan ale. Too many toasts. Anyway, so right after this is happening, Dr. Adams and his assistant Eli, they get the drop on him, and they subdue Dr. Noel, and then they start start messing with Kirk. They start torturing him effectively.
Where does she go? When they take her away?
They just seem to be holding her back she seems to be there for the most of it, in the background. This is one of the scenes. And this is quickly where, Kirk's in big trouble here. He looks like he sells it very well, Shatner, in the scenes where he has to sell it.
See the lighting though, and that again, it's just great. The shadowing and everything.
I'm telling you, man, this is one of the finer episodes visually as well as acting ability. I think
directed by Vincent McEvedy. Is that how you say his name?
I think this is also the last produced, fully produced episode by Roddenberry as well.
Oh, okay.
I think after that, the writing credits and all that stuff went all over the ways.
So after after the initial torture or whatever, we kind of go to credits, and then Kirk wakes up in his quarters with Helen, and she's like, "We're back here," and he's like, "I love you," because we saw the Dr. Adams was saying, if you can't be with her, then you're going to be in pain. It's going to cause you so much pain. And he's like, I need you forever. I love you forever. He completely changed around the way Kirk felt about her, basically. If she hadn't done that already with her little suggestion before that we had this magical night in your quarters. And so she's able to kind of snap him out of it pretty quickly. She's like, remember how I made you hungry? Well, he's making you love me too. And there's even more going on here. And so as soon as he figures that out, he's like, air conditioning system, vents, ducts. And he says, you can crawl through there. For the record, I think he also could have crawled through there.
Everybody in the damn ship can crawl through there. They're huge.
They're not it wasn't like
I
you can park a Buick in them.
When she got to the end of it, it opened right up exactly where she had to be.
Yeah.
Well, that just moves things along. That's all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And a lot of TV shows do this, where there's always some amazing air conditioning system that you can crawl through. I don't know a lot about those systems, but I suspect that most of them are not human-sized.
I would tend to agree with you. Yes.
But anyway, it's fine. So she's like, he goes, do you know anything about high voltage circuits? She goes, nope. He's like, well, if you touch the wrong one, you're dead. So good luck.
Good luck. Have fun.
You're in Starfleet. And he kind of pushes her in.
He's like, this problem's going to solve itself soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then Adam's goons, they show up to pick up Kirk. And he's like, hey, time for another treatment. And they don't even notice she's not there. So that works to the advantage there. And then she puts him in the air conditioning. And then what happens first? She goes to the room and she's taking out the power in the control room. Did she have to fight somebody? Yeah, she did, right?
Yeah.
There was one,
Yeah.
And she kicked the guy after he put it back on, she kicked him into it. And
into the panel.
He got electrocuted.
And you got electrocuted. Yeah. So she's kind of the hero.
Yeah.
She did a good job. You know, the other thing that was going on at the same time is that Kirk is in a fight now in that room with Dr. Adams and his flunkies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He knocks out Dr. Adams, who falls down next to the chair, the treatment chair, right? And the power's out.
Yes. Right, because that's how Kirk's able to because she knocks out the power like temporarily at first, and then that gives Kirk a chance to sort of get out of this horrible position he's in, and then turn the tables a bit, and then the power comes on.
It went back on, and then it went back off again when the guy got electrocuted. But in the meantime, Spock had the coordinates for where she was, and beamed down into that room.
Right. Yeah, and so like without her, they don't save the day. They don't I don't know what would happen. I guess Kirk probably would have died. I don't know. I don't really know what Adams's plan was here, like how he was going to get out of this, because eventually the Enterprise was going to come for him one way or the other. But
his fate sealed anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was just torturing Kirk for kicks, I guess, or maybe his plan was to maybe like control Kirk and then maybe
to hush him up,
or see if that could flip the situation. But he never got that chance. And anyway, so Adams gets his brain completely fried by the end of this. And then all of his staff, like I didn't get enough resolution there, because obviously he didn't do this alone. He had a lot of conspirers involved in this.
Oh, the rest of them are just like, okay, he's fried. We don't know what happened.
Well, we see like
him.
We see like the security guard come down and kind of throws one of those guys against the wall. He's like, "You stand there. You're under arrest, Buster."
Yeah.
You can go live in one of the nice penal colonies that Dr. Adams has set up soon.
Just stay out of the chairs.
Just stay out of the chairs.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
they get
the lights above them.
But when we come back up to the bridge and we see Kirk here, he's very melancholy. He's very solemn. He's been.
I almost didn't think that this was going to end here. Like, it didn't feel like this was the typical wrap up to a Star Trek episode.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Like I just felt okay, and then it ended, and there was a smile, but there was no really wrap up to Dr. Noel's story.
No.
Right.
But you almost get the impression that maybe she should have been like an extra character that was going to continue.
I also mentioned that Van Gelder was back in charge of the penal colony.
Right. They did wrap that up, but I think they could have done that better by maybe having him beam down and show that he was now in control. And
and then they say,
how did he all of a sudden get real good?
They also could have just said that like she was staying behind to help get the colony going again.
They could have done that. They could have also, but what did they do with like Kirk had been treated? Is he just cured now? Like, I don't know what happened.
What about Van Gelder? How did he get cured?
Right. Yeah.
We didn't see him get better.
We didn't get a lot of closure in this episode.
No.
Yeah, it almost feels like it could have been a two-parter or something, or you could have cut out
a few
all the shots that just had pictures of people.
That would have been 10 minutes right there.
Yeah.
Right, but the big thing is he's like Van Gelder thinks you would want to know the equipment's been destroyed, because he's happy about it, and I'm sure you are as a victim of it. And he goes, "Yep," pretty much. He kind of acknowledges as much. He goes, McCoy says, "It's hard to believe that a man could die of loneliness," referring to Dr. Adams. He goes, "Not if you sat in that room." And he's like, let's get out of here, Spock. Warp Factor 1. Spock's like, "Okay, Warp Factor 1.
One more thing on Spock. That look that he gave Kirk when he walked into the room and saw him kissing Dr. Noel.
Yes.
It was like, again?
Yeah, it's almost like maybe like...
I would love you to show that picture if you could. It was just...
Oh, you know what? Oh, I totally figured this out. This is a three-way that went wrong. That's what this is.
I don't think
Spock was in on it.
Spock was in on it. I love it.
He's like, "Not again, Kirk. We already tried this once. It didn't work out."
If Spock ever lost control of his emotions, it was in that scene.
Yeah.
Well,
and earlier in the episode, he's like, we learned to suppress our emotions, that kind of thing.
There was 2 episodes, I think, ago, the same thing happened, where Kirk was kissing when him and McCoy came in.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
I just have to refresh.
What are we doing?
Trying to get that look of Spock.
Oh, he's back. Okay. I think he was having problems.
Yeah, I couldn't change the photo.
Anyway, that was great. I watched that scene twice because I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's early too. It's early in the series for him to be giving that look to Kirk because it's not like again. It's almost like.
Well, you got to remember these characters aren't fully established yet. Like this is only a couple episodes into the first season. Like there's a lot of room to move around, right?
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's the plot of the episode. So maybe we can discuss some trivia that we haven't covered so far.
Oh, shall
Jody,
I? I shall.
Yeah, you're on.
All right. James Doohan and George Takei do not appear in this episode. Scotty appeared in the original script, operating the transporter in the first scene when Van Gelder is beamed aboard. However, they didn't want to, for cost-cutting measure, they didn't want to pay Scotty $890 for this episode, so they replaced him with a random performer, which happened to be Anthony Larry Paul, playing Lieutenant Berkeley, hired for such a lower salary. So that's the reason why he's not there.
That's what James Doohan would have got in 1966 for one
would
scene.
$890. Well, I guess if he appears, he automatically gets it.
He made way more money in syndication.
Oh, I bet. A billion times over, I'm sure.
You know,
I'm gonna have to put the old man glasses on here, guys. I'm sorry.
Do you know who the richest TV person is in all of television? It's Judge Judy.
Oh yeah, she makes a killing.
$30 a year.
Well, she also produces a whole bunch of shows too. In an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, however, they don't tell me what episode, a shipping label produced for that series shows that a now elderly Dr. Van Gelder is still in charge of the Tantalus penal colony in the 2370s. So that's a little bit of.
It's like 100, and after 100, what does this guy look like after 100 years?
You know what? If he looks like that at 40, you have to wonder, don't you?
Yeah.
Lethe, I guess is her name, was named after the river in Hades in Greek myth. Those condemned souls who drank from it forgot their past lives, explaining her blank vegetative stare from neuralizer treatment. That's actually in quotes.
That's why her eyes are all screwed.
Yeah, that's why her eyes are all nuts.
Another in lobotomy.
Yeah, there you go. This is the first episode to establish that a transporter cannot penetrate a force field. So there you go.
There you go.
That's interesting to know. This episode also marks the first appearance of the Vulcan mind meld. The final shooting draft of the script had Spock placing his hands on Van Gelder's abdomen while performing the mind meld. According to the making of Star Trek, the mind meld was developed as an alternative to the scripts of hypnosis to stabilize Van Gelder. So that's the reason why they started the whole trend. And obviously it continued on forever and ever and ever. This is the final episode, except for Star Trek, the original series Assignment Earth, which is, as far as I understand, Ted's favorite episode, solely produced by Gene Roddenberry. So every episode going forward past this was produced by not just Gene, but somebody else as well. That's interesting to know, I guess.
It is.
It is, I guess.
I'm just trying to. Yeah.
After finishing this episode, Morgan Woodward, which is the person who played Van Gelder, reportedly went home and took a rest for 4 days for exhaustion.
Right.
So yeah, he acted the hell out of that part for sure. Dr. Helen Noel, a former Christmas affair of Captain Kirk, that's what it says, was named after the most beautiful woman in Greek mythology, Helen, and the French word for Christmas, Noel. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was that simple.
The title of the line from William is actually from William Shakespeare's Macbeth, which obviously is not something that we don't normally see all the time in Star Trek, the original series. They use a lot of that stuff. It is the title character is I can never say that name. Soliloquy?
Soliloquy.
Is that it? Okay, we'll say that you said it. In Act 2, Scene 1. So there you go. The flashback scenes of the last year's Christmas party indicated that the mid-2260s Starfleet uniforms were issued by the end of 2265. So that's something for Dave, of course.
Okay, wait, but yes, I know there was a uniform change in 2265, of course, but how do we know that?
Because it's in the flashback scene. I guess. I'm just reading what's on here, but I don't know at all.
Oh, is she wearing like the old uniform?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that at all.
Oh, Dave, I'm disappointed with you.
Is that why
I'm
shorter
disappointed
skirt?
myself.
Maybe that's.
Well, he's
no, the skirt is the new
he's
one.
carrying her in. Like it's hard to see her uniform in that scene, but
Despite looking a lot older, Morgan Woodward, who played Simon Van Gelder, was actually only 40 years old when this episode was filmed.
how is this guy 40 years old?
I don't know, Dave, but you're definitely aging better than he was. So, hats off to you. The chair
40?
the chair used in the neuralizer room was later reused by Garth in Star Trek: The Original Series, Whom Gods Destroy.
That was the name of the episode. I was trying to remember Whom Gods Destroy.
Whom Gods Destroy. There you go. When Fields calls the bridge to report sighting Van Gelder in the corridor, the sign on the wall next to him says Personnel Director. Another sign in the corridor can be seen saying Science Library, while one of the arrows points to Briefing Room.
This is Fields, if you don't know.
Yes.
He's in a lot of libraries.
He's like one of the permanent extras.
Yeah.
That science library is where they had the Star Trek Science Lab Christmas party.
Maybe it's the same place, or maybe that's where the orgy room is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, some of the colony's interiors are reused and redressed sets left over from a previous episode, Star Trek: The Original Series, What Little Girls Are Made Of. So a lot of the sets are the same, which makes sense. First season. The remaster version of Tantalus with a tight ring structure and the Enterprise entering close orbit. This could put the Enterprise in danger from the particles of the rings. Only larger planets can have stable, long-lasting rings around them. So apparently people are just geeking out about that. I don't even get it. But anyway. The beam projector in the treatment room is made up of a circle of clear night light bulbs behind glass lens sequenced in a circular lighting pattern. So all they are is just little tiny bulbs from the...
I thought it worked. Like, I get it's just a light in the ceiling, but it's fine. It works well. Like,
it looked good.
I thought it was a dentist light.
It could have been, it could have been a dentist light too. Yeah, for sure.
Like it doesn't need a lot of production value in order to tell a good story.
No, it was good. It could have been good today. Same story.
Oh, here you go. Here's an interesting one. In several interviews, Morgan Woodward, which is the gentleman who played Van Gelder, noted his work in this episode greatly affected him on both a personal and professional level. Woodward felt that the part of Van Gelder was perhaps the most physical and emotionally exhausting role he had ever played. He also stated in his experience in playing the part resulted in his being in a large antisocial state of mind for a few weeks following. However, Woodward, who would later play Captain Tracy in Star Trek's the original episode series, The Omega Glory.
He was the captain. He was the evil captain.
There you go. Credits his work in Star Trek for helping him to finally break away from being typecasted in Western roles, because apparently that's all he did before that.
He was much better in this than that other episode.
This is before that. Omega Glory. Let's see. Let me see. I'll find a picture of Captain Tracy.
It's on their IMDb.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's about it for now. Yeah, there's not really anything else there, Dave.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a very uneventful trivia episode.
I had to take a look at him quickly because I forgot it. We talked about this like when we watched the Omega Glory so long ago. We're like, we're gonna see him again in another episode.
Yeah.
He was 42 then, wasn't he, Dave? Is that season 3?
41 or 42, yeah.
He would have been about 42 then. Yeah, 42, 43 actually. Yeah.
He looks like he's about 65.
Yeah, he's actually not that much older than William Shatner would have been at this time too. So
the man didn't age well. That's all I can say.
But he didn't die until 2018.
Dave, that guy is older than me right now.
Yeah, but he only died in 2019.
Yeah, he held in there.
Okay, He's 8 years younger than I am.
Wow. Hey, good for him.
How old
All
was
right.
he when he died? Dave?
All I can say, guys, is I don't want to toot our own horns here, but I think all of us are aging better than this guy.
Yeah. How old was
Oh,
he
yeah.
when he died?
He was 93.
Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he was actually a World War II and a Korean War veteran. So,
Okay.
Well, I'll put the years
Air
on
Force.
it.
That's
Maybe
what-
that's probably why he has the gray hair then.
Yeah.
That makes perfect.
Yeah,
I didn't
got
get
it.
all this
Yeah,
until I had
yeah.
kids. So that makes sense.
All right,
Will
let's
do.
talk about let's rate this episode and wrap things up. All right, so Dad, you want to start us off here?
Yep. I give this one an 8.3.
Oh, okay.
Respectable.
I'm gonna go 8.5 on this. This is pretty good.
I like the pacing of this episode. I like the shots in this episode. I like the story. I'm going to give it an 8.5 as well.
And Joe?
You guys have read my mind. I'm doing 8.5 as well.
All right, Dad's the low vote.
Ooh.
So
But yeah, barely though.
it doesn't matter because it still averages out at 8.5 because three of us
What is
voted that way.
MDB? IMDB.
The Internet Movie Database. It's 7.4 there, so it's not as highly rated by
We're
them.
actually, we rated it higher than they did.
I like this episode more after talking about it. So
Yeah.
You know what? It's one of those episodes that when you actually sit and watch it, and actually watch it for this type of premise, you really do appreciate it more.
Yeah, no,
It's a good episode.
I'm glad we do rate at the end. I think we only one time we rated at the very beginning. Okay, so let's have a look. So maybe we'll move away from season 1 for this next week.
Let's go to season 3 again, because I think
Really?
season 3 and season 1
There's
are
only
the ones
4
that
left in season 2 for us to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There isn't that many left.
And then here's the season 3, I'm sorry, episodes. We got Paradise Syndrome, Spock's Brain, The Empath. Is there truth? Is there in truth?
Is there
no
truth,
beauty?
no beauty?
Is there in truth, no beauty? Okay. Wink of an eye. That witch.
Who's picking? Because I already picked. So somebody else has to pick.
I'll pick one.
Yeah, pick one, Dad.
How about the Cloud Minders?
The Cloud Minders.
I don't even know what that is.
I have no idea what that is, but sure, that's what we're doing. Let's bring that back up.
The Cloud Minders.
Can you read us the premise?
Kirk and Spock are caught up in a revolution on a planet where intellectuals and artists live in a utopian city in the sky, while the rest of the population toils in the mines of a barren surface below. Oh, I know this episode now. Okay.
It's called
Yeah.
Empire
This is
Strikes
the
Back. Bespin.
It's a Star Wars before Star Wars.
yeah. Now that I'm looking at, oh yes, I remember that bikini. Absolutely.
The Troglodytes.
We get bikinis.
There's one that is definitely,
Bikini dress.
yeah, it's like a bikini dress, but it's something.
These are called Troglodytes.
Diana Ewing.
All right.
Diana
Okay.
Ewing.
Okay, all right.
She's still
Okay,
alive too, by the way. Anyway.
So the Cloud Minders will be our next episode that we're watching next Wednesday at 8:00 Eastern. Check us out and make sure to check out our other podcasts here on Live Long and Podcast. On Tuesday nights, we're continuing our mission to watch every Deep Space Nine episode in order. We're into season 3 right now.
We got to be what, 3/4 of the way through 3 now?
Yeah, we're a good way. We're going to be into season 4 before we know it.
What year do you finish that? Just
2.5 years, isn't it?
It was 3.5. We knew when we started it was
3.5.
going to be about 3.5.
Yeah.
So we started it last year. So about 2023, I guess, we'll be done.
I want to know when we're going to start the Enterprise rewatch.
yeah, I'm dying.
We're gonna start that. We're gonna start it as soon as this one's over. So,
okay.
And Jody's you're the head for that one.
Oh, am I?
So,
Okay.
Yeah, if you want it.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So like,
I want to give it the love it deserves.
I'm with you,
You gotta be
Jody.
neutral, Jody.
There you
I
go.
think you and
I
Adam
think
should be
me and
the
Adam need to
co-hosts.
co-host this one.
I think that's
Sure.
a great idea.
All right. Sounds good.
And I know Kevin Millard will be in for that one too.
Kevin Millard is not going to be in for that, but
He says he wants to though. He wants to.
he hates that show.
I know.
Okay, we need somebody that hates it.
We need the one hater.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're gonna be doing Enterprise, and Jane's like, when are we gonna do Next Gen? I'm like, hey, I gotta finish these other shows first before we.
Everybody loves Next Gen.
Yeah. So
And you're going to have the same problem that you have.
Some episodes in Next Gen that absolutely suck.
The problem is you're going to have the same problem that you did with the DS9, where you have to go through 2 seasons of shit. That's the problem.
But it's worth it once you get on the other end of it.
It's true. Yeah.
Anyway, so Deep Space Nine every Tuesday night. Jeff Mater is the station commander over there, and he's been heading that up as he will continue throughout
At 9ish.
At 9ish Tuesday nights with the Millards and Jaemeel Robinson and myself. And then on the weekends we often do Star Trek Radio Theater. We are going to be doing this Saturday night. I don't have a poster ready yet, but we're going to be doing the episode called Journey to Babel. Where Spock's parents came.
That's the original series, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a good
We're
episode.
going to be doing that. We're going to have Michael and Jessica Chan back.
I'm waiting for Next Gen episode so I can jump on.
I'm trying to get you in for a Q episode.
I want a Q episode. I want to play Q.
That's the plan, to get you in for I know we were going to do Squire of Gothos, but it was just like there's not enough parts to go around. So
yeah, that's a pretty character.
There's only like 4 parts in it, and we already have 8 people before you're coming in. So it's like it just wasn't practical. But so then we're doing Star Trek Radio Theater Saturday night at 9, and then our other channels, Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, where we talk about TV that's not related to Star Trek. Jaemeel and Robinson and I just did 10 weeks of coverage of Big Brother Canada 9. If you're into that, check it out. We also talked about Marvel shows like WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the Serpent and Tiger King we've done, and a whole bunch, Survivor, all kinds of shows. So check that out over there. And we have our monthly show channel, which is called Trivial Debates, where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. Jody Simpson hosting the next one with Adam Woodward.
Is one of the contestants.
Jaemeel Robinson, the second contestant.
Oh, we got Jaemeel. Excellent.
And the third contestant, Kevin Millard.
That's not.
Oh, wow. That's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
That one's going to be insane. Oh, you got a lot of work going on there, Adam.
So wait a second. When is this? Not this weekend, right? Next week.
No. It's May 30th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can't do it this weekend.
Not this Sunday, but the next Sunday.
This is a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Can't do it this weekend.
Right. It's always the last Sunday of the month.
Because everybody's going to be
out. Big plans this weekend, Jody?
Yeah, big.
Yeah, I got to go to the beer store.
Big May 24 holiday coming up. So all that. So we hope you've enjoyed our podcast tonight. Thank you, Dad. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Jody, for reviewing Dagger of the Mind from season 1, 1966. And that concludes us here. Wednesday. He almost has it. He can almost
had it. Actually, I think he's doing more like gang signs, like West Side.
Yeah, I think that's more. He's more West Side. All right. Oh, and hello, Poochie. All right. And until next time, have a great night and live.